Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Let's pick up where we left off yesterday. We talked about the latest on Zubimendi, on GYOKERES, on Isaac, on Raya potentially being wanted by Real Madrid to replace Courtois, the latest on Kiwior, and a couple of other players, including Trossard, potentially getting a 4-year contract. But in this one, there's more news on GYOKERES, the latest on Rodrygo, who you can see on screen. There's also updates on players like Zinchenko and Partey. We still don't know who's going to be leaving Arsenal. We know about a few targets, but it's going to be an interesting transfer window, man. I cannot wait. I think this one is going to be more busy than it's ever been, because now we have a new director, and obviously the way the season went, it's basically do or die. If you have another bad transfer window, Newcastle are not too far away from us. Liverpool are ahead of us. You'd expect Man City to be to have a very busy transfer window. Man City are being linked to Vats and Reinders from AC Milan. If they get both of them, that would be crazy. So teams are not going to just hang around. Liverpool is about to sign Frimpong from Leverkusen, so we also need to do some big business, and let's hope we get it done. So the first piece of news is on Rodrygo. According to some C, Arsenal view Rodrygo as a potential market opportunity and are let's read that again. Arsenal view Rodrygo as a potential market opportunity and are in ongoing discussions regarding the possibility of signing him this summer. So I think like 4 or 5 days ago, there was news on Rodrygo, but I think I saw somewhere that they would want something like £90 million to get it done. Now, some says like Arsenal are viewing this as a market opportunity. I don't think anyone would really see £100 million as a market opportunity. £100 million is like premium. That one is signing a big player that you absolutely need, and not really a market opportunity. Would I like Rodrygo at Arsenal? Absolutely. For 100 million, I don't know. For anything less than that, I would, because this is a player who's very versatile. This is a player who's won it at Real Madrid. This is a player who will bring that winning mentality, and it's a player who can take on players. It's a player who can play on the left wing, right wing, like this season. And 4 seasons ago, he's been playing as a right winger most of the time. Last season, he played basically as a centre forward for Real Madrid all season with Bellingham, and they are doing a great job. And his numbers are not bad. Like, you compare his numbers to our players, anyone who can get double figures in terms of goals and assists in multiple seasons in a row, that is a good player. And if you look at his numbers, the past 2 seasons, last season he had 13 goals, 10 assists. He has 13 goals, 10 assists this season, and last season he had 18 goals and 9 assists. Those are not bad numbers, and he's always played 50-plus games in a season. Now, are there better numbers out there? Yes, but at Real Madrid, you don't expect him to get all the goals and assists, because there's other players there like Bellingham, Mbappe, and Vinicius. So you wouldn't really expect him to have 50 goals and 30 assists, because Rodrygo is not the main man at Real Madrid. He's not even the second main man at Real Madrid at all. So those numbers, I think, are great for a player who usually gets subbed off and sometimes comes on and is not really the main guy. So Rodrygo is a player that we're linked to. Also, this from Goldberg CFC. Arsenal will be at the table for Real Madrid's Rodrygo this summer. However, Jamie Gittins moving to Arsenal is very unlikely. So looking likely that we are going to approach Rodrygo. Listen, there's a time where Arsenal getting linked to players like Rodrygo. Even as Arsenal fans would laugh at that and be like, surely Rodrygo not join Arsenal at all. But the only few positives of Arsenal getting to a semi-final of Champions League and finishing second 3 seasons in a row is you can actually get this kind of players. Yes, finishing second 3 times in a row is very painful, but when you look at it in the transfer market, you're like, okay, yeah, they've not won anything, but it looks like you've competed for the title 3 seasons in a row, and you've gotten to a semi-final and a quarterfinal of the Champions League, and you can actually convince these players, like, you're the last missing piece, or the missing piece in this team. And if you got here and won just another 6 points, we'd be Premier League champions. You can convince them something like that. So yes, finishing second does not look good when we're talking about not winning trophies, but in the transfer market, it could, because if you were finishing 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th, again, wouldn't be linked to such kind of players. So Rodrygo, let's see how this one goes. We definitely need a winger this transfer window. No if, buts, and maybes. We 100% need a striker. 100% we need a winger. And Rodrygo has been playing mostly as a right winger, so that is not the case at Arsenal because Saka has that position. So if you sign someone like a Rodrygo, he's going to be a starting left winger. So players like Martinelli and Trossard, what will happen to them? We talked about Trossard in the last video. You're going to talk about Martinelli in this one. But first, let me know what you guys make of Rodrygo. How much would you be willing to pay for him? Would you actually pay the 90 million to 100 million for him? Or do you think that is too much money to pay for Rodrygo and you should be using that money elsewhere? Next up, let's go to the latest on Viktor GYOKERES. Arsenal have been told that they can sign Viktor GYOKERES for £60 million, with Sporting willing to do business this summer. GYOKERES would command a contract well in excess of 20,000 a week to make him one of Arsenal's top earners. Now, the thing with the salary, these players are going to demand that kind of salary. You're not going to get a player who scored all those goals and has all those assists in the past 2-3 seasons, and then he comes to us and asks for £50,000. I don't think so. A player like this would ask for that kind of money. And considering at Arsenal, we have a lot of players getting paid a lot of money that are not even part of the project in the coming few months and years. And, they haven't really contributed that much over the past couple of seasons. Like Jesus gets paid a lot of money at Arsenal. Havertz gets paid a lot of money at Arsenal. Players like Saka, Gabriel, and Saliba are not even anywhere near being Arsenal's top earners, but after they get new contracts, they potentially will be. So, you look at Arsenal and someone like Kieran Tierney is getting paid more money than Gabriel. Zinchenko is getting paid more money than Gabriel. So we have to, I think we've done a good job in terms of our salary and wage bill and wage structure over the past couple of years. That's something that at Senedu did well. We had a lot of players getting a lot of money, players like Mustafi and Ozil, and that wasn't ideal. Recently, I haven't had too many players on crazy money, but to go to the next level, signing players like this, you're going to have to give them a lot of money. Someone like a Nico Williams is asking for 300,000 plus per week. So 200,000 a week for GYOKERES, I think that is good money, considering you're also going to sign him for only 60 million. This would be a game changer, and getting a player like that and giving that kind of money is going to be a game changer. That is fine. And GYOKERES, over the last 2 seasons, he's played 100 games. He has scored 95 goals in those 100 games, and he has 28 assists. That is, how many is that? That's 123 goal contributions in 100 games. That is, those are numbers that should get him locked up in a jail somewhere. Those are crazy numbers. Those are disgusting numbers, man. Like, I love the Arsenal players, but if you combine like all our forward players, their goals and assists, and you combine them over the last 2 seasons, they probably even wouldn't get to this numbers from GYOKERES, and GYOKERES is just by himself, which is absolutely crazy. So the teams that we've played, the teams we're in the Champions League together with recently, you look at Barcelona. Every time I watch Barcelona, they're scoring 4+ goals, whether they're playing against Real Madrid or Inter Milan or Celta Vigo, it doesn't matter. And those players are used to scoring and getting assists. So when Rafinha gets a chance in front of goal, and Lamine Yamal cuts in from the right side, when Lautaro Martinez gets a cross, when Dembele gets a run one-on-one, those players, you bank on them 9 times out of 10 to score, because you've seen them scoring 30 times the previous 6 months. But for our players, the reason why we are usually not sure that those players are going to score, and it's a lot of them, is because we're not used to them scoring. We're used to them missing those chances. So even maybe the players themselves, when Martinelli goes through one-on-one, is he confident in himself that he's going to score? I don't think so. When Havertz goes through one-on-one, is he confident in himself that he's going to score? I don't think so. So I'm sure if you have someone like a GYOKERES going through one-on-one or jumping for a header, he's banking on himself to score, because he has scored 100 goals in the last 2 years. So he's expecting to score. So that is the kind of mentality you need in your team. And when a player like GYOKERES joins your team, all the other players might get better. I said Odegaard has a bad season this season, but next season, if GYOKERES is in the team, maybe Odegaard has a bad season, but he has 18 assists because he's created so many chances. Last season, he created 100+ chances, and he had less than 10 assists. Where did the other 90 chances go? So if GYOKERES can convert 15 of those or even 10 of those, that makes Saka's numbers better, Odegaard's numbers better, just because you have a striker there. And it makes anyone else who's playing in that position want to be better. You can teach one thing, and this player can teach another thing. And I think his age, 26, is heading into his prime right now. So that is a player who can deliver for you for 4 to 5 years, maybe even more, depending on how things go. So That's the latest on Viktor GYOKERES. Let's go to the next one, which is Thomas Partey. From David Johnson said that Arsenal would like to renew Thomas Partey's contract and the midfielder would like to stay, but it is yet to be known if they will reach an agreement. The Gunners are looking for possible alternatives. So we've obviously signed Zubimendi now. We've already gotten the here we go. Jorginho is leaving. So you have two other players who can play in that position. One of them is Declan Rice, but with Zubimendi signing, I'd expect Declan Rice to be the number 8 permanently. And Merino, I don't know what is going to happen to Merino. I don't know if he's going to be pushed back to the number 6 position, or is he going to be used maybe even as a backup striker and sometimes as a midfielder. Now, someone like a Merino, he hasn't been great in midfield this season, but his numbers, if you look at his duels and all that, winning the ball back and tackles and all that, he still does well even when he plays in midfield. That is his usual position, but as a finisher, he's been excellent. So it's going to be interesting to see where Merino is going to end up next season. But Thomas Partey, with Zubimendi joining, I don't expect Partey to be starting games. So where does he end up? Does he end up on the bench, or does he end up, leaving Arsenal? But losing both Partey and Jorginho would mean either Merino goes back to midfield or we sign 2 midfielders, Zubimendi and someone else, which I don't think should be the case right now. Our focus should be on signing forward players, especially after already signing Zubimendi. But let's see how Thomas Partey this Thomas Partey deal goes. So again, we don't know what is happening. Maybe Arsenal want to give him a new contract, but Partey has not yet made up his mind whether he wants to stay at Arsenal or go to Saudi Arabia. Maybe Arsenal waiting to see, if you're going to get other midfield targets, and maybe they're looking to see whether it's worth it. Maybe they're talking to him about maybe reducing his wage bill and all that. We don't know. Personally, I would keep him for one more season, but let's see how Thomas Partey deal goes. We're already in May, so there's not too much time. Next up, Kiwior, another player who we are not sure is going to stay or leave. According to Graham Bailey, Arsenal have not given up on persuading Jakub Kiwior to stay and have indicated to the players' camp that they are willing to offer him a new contract on improved terms. Kiwior has wanted to leave Arsenal for some time now. He appreciates the progress he's made at the club, but he also recognizes that Gabriel Magalhaes is first choice. It's understood that Kiwior's run in the first team has only heightened his determination to seek regular football elsewhere next season. So, wow. Interesting last sentence. So him playing and seeing how good he is, maybe he didn't believe in himself previously, but until now he's played next to Saliba and the last 2 months, and he's actually felt like, hey, I'm actually doing very well. Maybe I need to be playing first team football elsewhere. That could be the case. But the truth is, when Gabriel comes back, Gabriel goes straight back to the lineup. Doesn't matter how well Kiwior plays. Gabriel, he's missed like 2 months, but he could easily still be our player of the season with how he played both attacking-wise and defensive-wise throughout the season. I would definitely keep Kiwior. Something I would do different next season is, yes, you need to keep your defense and goalkeeper same as much as possible, but we can also rotate players. For example, Man City don't play Diaz every single day. They don't play Gvardiol every single day. They don't even play Ederson every single day. There's games where if you're playing Saturday against Tottenham and you're playing Wednesday against Chelsea and you're playing that same next Saturday against, let's say, Sheffield United at home, yes, defenders can play every single game. Like Gabriel and Van Dijk, these defenders play every single game. But in our case, do we have to use them all these games, You can play him against Tottenham and Chelsea that week, but that weekend against Sheffield, you can rest him and play Kiwior, for example. So I would like to see whoever is back up to Gabriel, hopefully still Kiwior. He can still get more minutes, play all the Carabao Cup games, play all the FA Cup games, play some Champions League games now. The league phase is different. It's not like you're going to, play all the top teams throughout. You're going to have some easier games. And not even saying Kiwior is just going to play easier games. No, Kiwior was very good against Mbappe and Real Madrid. I think he was great against PSG. So those are not small teams. I think Kiwior has done well. So I'd like to see more rotation is basically what I'm saying. Sometimes, depending on how the game goes, you could have all 3 of them on the pitch at the same time. So Kiwior will get his chances hopefully next season. Because again, selling Kiwior and then he also sells Zinchenko and Tierney is going, that means again you have to start looking for more defenders. I'm not sure, man. I need us to focus on the forward positions more. But that's the latest on Kiwior. I would keep him personally. Next up, let's talk about Zinchenko, another defender who could potentially end up leaving. So Arsenal have been open to selling Alexander Zinchenko in the last 2 transfer windows, but it looks extremely likely he will leave this summer. A few clubs have already made contact to sign the Ukrainian. Now, this is one that I think is going to happen, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. You could tell, like the last 2 months, players like Sterling, we've literally just not even used them at all. And Zinchenko is the other one. I mean, Zinchenko has played well whenever he's played in midfield, but there's so many games where at left back he's already lost his position because Lewis Kelly plays, and even when Lewis Kelly gets subbed off, it's Calafiori. Even when Calafiori gets subbed off, sometimes it's Tierney. It's rarely Zinchenko who comes on at left back. In midfield, if you had Zubimendi and Rice as a permanent number 8, you could say Zinchenko can be a backup for Rice, but Merino is there as well. So you really can't see him getting too many chances. I think Zinchenko is great at controlling the game and the ball and making those, attempting those crazy passes, and he does it well. But yeah, we've tried selling him the last 2 summers. I think he will go, but how much? They're talking about 20 million. Do you guys think 20 million is enough for Zinchenko, or do you think we should be trying to get more than the 20 million? Let me know. Next up is the same, but this is according to David Onstein. There may be a left back who comes in with Kieran Tierney leaving, Alexander Zinchenko available for transfer. So looks like you're going to get a left back or a left centre back, depending height who we decide to go for. Now, Hson, Arsenal and Liverpool are currently in pole position to sign Dean Hson with that decision expected soon. Hson's 50 million release clause can be paid in 3 installments. This is according to Platinberg of Platigol, but the last few minutes I've seen that Real Madrid are like maybe in an advanced position to sign Dean Hson. Now, yes, good defender, great for the future, but I wouldn't really be, have sleepless nights if you didn't sign Dean Hson. I think most of our money needs to go to the forward positions. I know they're saying it's going to be paid in 3 installments. But depending, Dean Hson, does he want to come and be a backup? Because again, centre back at Arsenal, you're not going to play. It's Gabriel and Saliba. You're going to be a backup. So let's see. I think that's the final piece of news. Did we have this one? Oh, Martinelli. So Gabriel Martinelli will remain at Arsenal next season. He'll not leave the club. I'm not sure about the source, so that's why I left it last. He has turned down interest from Chelsea and other clubs. I don't know why the hell Chelsea is being into Martinelli. Even if you want Martinelli to leave, it's not going to be to Chelsea. So Martinelli and Trossard, that is a conversation that everyone has been talking about, because with us being linked to Rodrygo, Nico Williams, and players like Lookman, one of them is going to join. So does that mean Trossard and Martinelli both stay, or one of them leaves, or both of them leave? As I've always said, I would be happy to keep both of them because I need players. I need us to have a good bench. I need us to have 7, 8 players that we can bring off the bench. This thing of having 1 or 2 players off the bench that we can bring on, no. And when you start selling 7, 8 players, then you're killing your bench again. And we did that last summer, and you didn't replace them. We let Nketiah go, we let Nelson go, Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira, and the whole season we've been stuck without anyone to bring off the bench. So players like Martinelli, unless you're going to sign 2 wingers or someone, for me, I'd keep them. They don't have to start. They can be coming off the bench. Absolutely no problem. But Martinelli and Trossard is going to be interesting because Trossard they're talking about Trossard signing a new contract, and Martinelli, nothing has been mentioned yet. So if you want to take a look at the news that we talked about yesterday with Trossard getting a new contract, the video is on screen. But let me know everything you've talked about today. Zinchenko, how much would you be asking for from him and all that? Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you on the next one.